It was supposed to be a perfect day at Pacific YEVS Marine Park, a dazzling display of harmony between human and orca, a performance honed over years of trust and precision. But on that crisp October morning in 2015, the illusion shattered in a matter of seconds. Olivia Jewell, a beloved trainer whose passion for the ocean was matched only by her bond with a killer whale named Lorie, stepped into the pool for what would be her final performance. What began as a routine show ended in a tragedy that would echo through the marine entertainment industry, leaving scars on hearts, policies, and the very soul of Pacific YEVS. This is the story of Olivia Jewell, a woman who lived for the sea, and the orca who turned on her in a moment no one could have predicted. Or could they? Welcome to YEVS, where we uncover the stories that demand to be told. If this grips you, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Let's dive into the heart of this unforgettable tragedy. Olivia Jewell wasn't just a trainer, she was a force of nature. At 29, she had already become a legend at Pacific YEVS Marine Park in San Diego, California. Born in a small coastal town in Oregon, Olivia's love for the ocean began as a child. While other kids played on swings, she was wading through tide pools, sketching starfish, and memorizing the migration patterns of humpback whales. By 12, she could identify every species of cetacean by their dorsal fin alone. At 16, she volunteered at a local aquarium, scrubbing tanks and asking questions that left seasoned keepers stumped. Her high school teachers called her relentless. Her friends called her obsessed. By 22, she had a marine biology degree from the University of California, Santa Cruz, with a thesis on orca vocalizations that earned her a scholarship to a prestigious marine research program. But it wasn't her academic achievements that made Olivia special. It was her gift with animals. Colleagues said she had a way of reading them, a sixth sense that let her understand their moods, their needs, their unspoken thoughts. Olivia didn't just train orcas, said Sarah Keaton, a fellow trainer. She spoke their language. You'd see her by the pool, staring into their eyes, and it was like they were having a conversation no one else could hear. When Pacific YEVS recruited her in 2010, it was no surprise. Within 2 years, she was leading the park's Orca program, choreographing shows that left audiences breathless and training junior staff with a quiet confidence that inspired awe. Olivia's connection with one orca stood out above the rest. Lorie, a 10,000-pound female captured off the coast of British Columbia in 1995. Lorie was the park's star, a massive, sleek predator with a playful streak that captivated crowds. To Olivia, Lorie was more than a performer. She was a partner, a friend, almost family. "They don't belong to us," Olivia often said, her voice soft but firm. "We're just lucky to share their world." She spent hours with Lorie outside of show times, swimming alongside her, studying her behaviors, and advocating for better tank conditions. She pushed for more enrichment, new toys, varied diets, longer rest periods, because she believed Lorie deserved a life as close to natural as captivity could allow. But even Olivia, with all her intuition, couldn't see the storm brewing beneath the surface. Lorie was no ordinary orca. At 21 feet long, with a broad, powerful tail and eyes that seemed to hold 1,000 untold stories, she was a marvel of the sea. Born in the wild, she was just 3 years old when she was netted during a controversial capture operation in 1995. Torn from her pod, her mother's calls fading into the distance, Lorie was transported to Pacific YEVS in a cramped crate, her world shrinking from the vast Pacific to a concrete tank. For 20 years, she performed under stadium lights, her leaps and spins drawing gas from thousands. Her dorsal fin, once tall and proud, had begun to slump, a common sign of stress in captive orcas, seen in less than 1% of wild populations, but over 80% of those in tanks. Trainers described Lorie as intelligent, almost eerily so. She learned cues faster than most, but she had a temper. "Lorie was a queen," said Mark Delgado, a veteran handler. "She'd do what you asked, but only if she felt like it. If she was off, you'd know it. Those eyes would just burn right through you." Over the years, Lorie had been involved in minor incidents. A tail slap that bruised a trainer's leg in 2008, a refusal to perform that halted a show in 2011, and a moment in 2013 when she lunged at a junior trainer during a feeding session, missing by inches. Each incident was documented, filed away, and dismissed as playful or misunderstood. Internal reports labeled her moody but not dangerous, and her star status kept her in the spotlight. Marine biologists had long warned about the psychological toll of captivity on orcas. Dr. Rachel Feldman, a cetacean behaviorist who consulted for Pacific Waves in the early 2000s, noted, "Orcas are social, sentient beings with complex emotional lives. In the wild, they swim 100 miles a day, hunt in pods, and communicate in dialects unique to their families. In a tank, they're confined to a bathtub, isolated from their natural world. That kind of stress doesn't just fade, it festers." Lorie showed signs of this stress. Hours spent logging at the surface, grinding her teeth on tank gates until they chipped, and occasional jaw popping, a behavior signaling agitation. Yet to Olivia, these were quirks, not red flags. She believed her bond with Lorie was stronger than the confines of the tank, that their trust could overcome the unnatural life Lorie was forced to lead. But nature doesn't bend to belief, and Lorie's instincts were stirring. In the months leading up to October 2015, something was changing. Lorie's behavior grew erratic. She began refusing food, spitting out fish unless Olivia herself offered it. Her responses to cues slowed, her movements less fluid, her eyes more distant. During training sessions, she would dive deep and stay submerged, circling the tank in tight, agitated laps. Trainers noticed her tail slaps growing heavier, sending waves crashing over the pool's edge. One junior trainer, Emily Ruiz, filed a report in July 2015 after Lorie snapped her jaws shut inches from her hand during a routine signal. "It wasn't play," Emily later told a colleague. "She was testing me, like she was saying, 'I'm in charge here.'" Whispers spread among the staff. 2 trainers requested to be reassigned from Lorie's team, citing unpredictable behavior. A maintenance worker reported seeing Lorie bash her head against the tank wall, leaving a faint smear of blood. Olivia, however, saw these as signs of boredom, not danger. She pushed for more enrichment, proposing new toys and a larger medical pool, but management dismissed her requests, citing budget constraints. "The show must go on," a supervisor told her. "Lorie's fine. She's just being Lorie." An internal memo later leaked to the press, instructed trainers to monitor Lorie closely, but offered no specific guidance. Olivia, trusting her bond, continued her close contact routines, believing she could read Lorie better than anyone. She didn't know that the orca's patience was wearing thin, that years of confinement were eroding the trust they had built. Pacific Waves had a history of cutting corners. Over the years, the park had been cited for safety violations, malfunctioning emergency gates, undertrained staff, and inadequate barriers between trainers and orcas. In 2012, a whistleblower revealed that incident reports were routinely downplayed or buried to avoid public scrutiny. Olivia herself had raised concerns, writing emails to management about Lorie's stress and the need for better protocols. Her messages went unanswered, filed away in a system that prioritized ticket sales over safety. The park's Orca program was its biggest draw, generating millions annually, and Olivia's performances with Lorie were the heart of it. To pause the show was to risk revenue, and Pacific Waves wasn't willing to take that chance. So the warning signs were ignored, the memos were shelved, and Olivia stepped into the pool one last time. October 12, 2015, dawned clear and cool in San Diego. The stands at Pacific Waves were packed, over 1,200 spectators buzzing with excitement for the 11:30 a.m. Orca show. Children pressed against the glass, parents adjusted their cameras, and the air hummed with anticipation. Backstage, Olivia prepared as she always did, checking her wetsuit, reviewing cues with her team, and spending a quiet moment with Lorie by the pool's edge. To onlookers, everything seemed normal. Lorie glided through the water, her massive body cutting smooth arcs, responding to Olivia's soft whistles with gentle nudges. But there was a subtle tension, unnoticed by most. Lorie's eyes were fixed, her movements sharper, her dorsal fin twitching slightly out of rhythm. At 11:37 a.m., the show began. The loudspeakers blared upbeat music, and Olivia jogged onto the platform, waving to the cheering crowd. Lorie breached beside her, soaking the front rows with a dramatic splash that drew gasps and laughter. The first few cues went flawlessly. Lorie spun, dove, and slid onto the platform with precision. Olivia's smile was radiant, her signals confident. The audience was captivated, unaware of the subtle signs. Lorie's hesitation on a spin, a tail slap that echoed too loudly, a brief pause before returning to the center of the pool. Olivia noticed but pressed on, trusting her instincts, trusting Lorie. At 11:43 a.m., the routine reached its climax. The Harmony Leap, a stunt where Olivia and Lorie swam side by side, culminating in Lorie lifting Olivia onto her rostrum for a soaring jump. Olivia dove into the pool, her body slicing through the water as she positioned herself. She extended her arms, signaling Lorie to approach. The Orca circled once, then twice, slower than usual. From the stands, it looked like part of the choreography, but the trainers on the sidelines tensed. Lorie's breathing quickened, her fins twitched, and then, without warning, she vanished beneath the surface. The music swelled, the crowd clapped, expecting the big leap. Olivia treaded water, scanning the pool, her smile unwavering. Then at 11:44 a.m., Lorie surged upward with terrifying speed. Instead of lifting Olivia gently, she slammed into her with the force of a freight train, her jaws closing around Olivia's torso. The crowd gasped, some still thinking it was part of the act, but the trainers knew better. Lorie dragged Olivia under, her massive body thrashing as the water churned violently. A scream pierced the air from a staff member on the platform. "Help! She's under! Lorie's got her!" The pool became a maelstrom. Lorie dove deep, pulling Olivia with her, only to surface moments later, shaking her like a rag doll. Blood stained the water, a dull red cloud spreading from the center. The audience's cheers turned to screams, parents shielding their children's eyes, phones recording the horror. Trainers scrambled, blowing emergency whistles and activating underwater tone generators meant to redirect Lorie's focus. She ignored them, her movements frantic, almost deliberate. A lifeguard grabbed a long pole, jabbing it toward Lorie, but the Orca bucked, knocking it away. Emergency gates jammed, nets failed to deploy, and the chaos grew. Olivia surfaced once, gasping, her face pale, one arm limp, before Lorie yanked her under again. For 6 agonizing minutes, the struggle continued. Lorie dove and surfaced, dragging Olivia's body through the water. Trainers threw bait, shouted commands, and pounded on the tank walls. But Lorie was unrelenting. The crowd was evacuated, children sobbing, adults frozen in shock. At 11:50 a.m., Lorie finally released Olivia, her body floating limply to the surface. Divers rushed in, pulling her onto the platform. Her wetsuit was shredded, her chest crushed, blood pooling beneath her. Paramedics performed CPR, their movements desperate but futile. At 12:02 p.m., Olivia Jewell was pronounced dead, her vibrant life extinguished in the pool she had called her second home. The hours that followed were a blur of grief and chaos. Pacific Waves shut its gates, canceling all shows. By evening, news trucks lined the parking lot, and headlines flashed across screens. Trainer killed by Orca in tragic show accident. A brief statement from the park read, "We are devastated by the loss of our beloved trainer, Olivia Jewell. Our thoughts are with her family and team. We are cooperating fully with authorities to investigate this tragedy." No mention of Lorie, no acknowledgement of prior incidents, no hint of accountability. Behind closed doors, the park scrambled. Internal emails were deleted, safety logs were misplaced, and staff were instructed not to speak to the press. But the truth couldn't be contained. By the next morning, cell phone footage from the audience flooded social media. Grainy clips of Lorie's attack, Olivia's limp body, the blood-streaked water. The images were haunting, shared millions of times with hashtags like #JusticeForOlivia and #EndCaptivity. Protests erupted outside Pacific Waves, with activists holding signs reading "Blood in the Water" and "Free Lorie." Candlelight vigils honored Olivia, her smiling face plastered on posters, flowers piling up at the park's entrance. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, launched an investigation, uncovering a damning history. Over the previous 5 years, Pacific Waves had been cited for 10 safety violations, including faulty emergency equipment and inadequate trainer training. A leaked 2014 report revealed that Lorie had shown aggressive tendencies in training, with recommendations to limit close contact stunts, recommendations ignored by management. Olivia's own emails pleading for better conditions for Lorie surfaced in the press, painting a picture of a trainer who cared deeply but was silenced by a system driven by profit. The coroner's report was brutal. Olivia died of blunt force trauma and drowning, with multiple rib fractures, a collapsed lung, and deep lacerations from Lorie's teeth. The injuries were so severe that survival was impossible, even without submersion. The report sparked outrage, with animal rights groups calling for an end to orca captivity. "This wasn't an accident," said Dr. Rachel Feldman in a televised interview. "This was a tragedy waiting to happen. Orcas don't belong in tanks, and trainers shouldn't be risking their lives for entertainment." Olivia's death was not an isolated incident. It was part of a grim pattern. In 2010, SeaWorld trainer Dawn Broncho was killed by an orca named Tilikum in Orlando, Florida, an attack that shocked the world and inspired the documentary Blackfish. In 2009, trainer Alexis Martinez was killed by an orca in the Canary Islands. Earlier incidents, like a 1990s attack at SeaWorld San Diego, had been buried or downplayed. Each time, the story was the same: warning signs ignored, safety protocols lax, and a system that valued ticket sales over lives. Olivia's death reignited the debate, with hashtags like #NoMoreTanks trending globally. Petitions to end orca captivity gained millions of signatures, and lawmakers proposed bills to phase out marine mammal shows. Former trainer Lisa Moreno, who left Pacific Waves in 2013, spoke out. "We all saw it coming with Lorie. She was stressed, lonely, trapped. Olivia loved her, but love can't fix a broken system. We warned them, and they didn't listen." The public's anger grew as more details emerged. Pacific Waves had buried reports of Lorie's aggression, falsified safety records, and pressured trainers to perform despite risks. The park's Orca program, once a source of pride, became a symbol of exploitation. In the wake of the tragedy, Pacific Waves suspended all Orca shows indefinitely. Lorie was removed from public performances, confined to a holding tank while experts assessed her behavior. Rumors swirled about her fate. Some said she'd be transferred, others feared she'd be euthanized. The park remained silent, offering no answers. But Olivia's legacy took root in other ways. Her family established the Olivia Jewell Foundation, dedicated to marine conservation and trainer safety. The foundation funded research into orca behavior, advocated for sea sanctuaries, and provided scholarships for aspiring marine biologists. At a memorial held by the pool where she died, colleagues shared stories of Olivia's kindness, her passion, her unshakable belief in the animals she loved. "She saw the best in Lorie," said Sarah Keaton, tears in her eyes. "She saw the best in all of us." Olivia's death forced a reckoning. Marine parks across the U.S. faced increased scrutiny, with some announcing plans to phase out orca shows. The concept of sea sanctuaries gained traction, with pilot programs in Canada and Iceland offering hope for retired orcas. But the fight was far from over. "Orcas are not here for our entertainment," said Dr. Feldman. "They're here to live just like us. Until we respect that, tragedies like Olivia's will keep happening." Olivia Jewell's story is more than a tragedy. It's a wake-up call. It's a reminder that the animals we admire, the ones we cage for our amusement, are not ours to control. They are wild, powerful, sentient beings with instincts we can never fully tame. Olivia believed in a bond that transcended captivity, but even her love couldn't overcome the toll of a life in a tank. Her death asks us to question the systems we support, the shows we applaud, the cages we build. Can we claim to love an animal while denying it freedom? Can we call it trust when it's built on confinement? If Olivia's story moves you, don't let it end here. Share it, talk about it. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, and join the movement to give animals like Lorie a voice. Because every life lost, human or animal, is a call to change.